So today I'm going to be reading a fanfic. In case you haven't noticed, because it's also not in this picture, it is a Hawk's X Endeavor fanfic that I'll be reading today. So here goes nothing. Let me ask you something. Have you ever admired someone so much you wonder how someone can be so flawless as well, so perfect? I've always seen up to Endeavor since I was a little kid. When I first saw him, he took my breath away. He was a person that didn't know what being afraid meant. I wanted to be just like him. As I grew older, I began wondering if my admiration maybe turned out to be something more. As I became a pro hero, me and him slowly began getting closer. And that's when I could accept what my heart had been telling me for so long. I've fallen in love. Third person point of view. It was Saturday and the streets in the city were peaceful. The sun was slowly rising and the sky turned orange. The first light was like a golden shower. Both Hawks and Endeavor were off duty, so they decided to eat lunch together, and Hawks was more than excited. It was the first time his offer hadn't been rejected. It was nearly 1 p.m. and Hawks rushed out to meet Endeavor at a nearby cafe. He arrived when he saw him sitting in a corner on the opposite side of the room. Wow, Hawks thought. He still wasn't used to seeing Endeavor in his casual clothes. Hawk's point of view. Hey, Angie, I call out. It's alright. It's alright if I can call you that, right? Since we're off duty and all. Sure, Angie murmured as I took a seat at the opposite end of the table. I must feel honored getting to eat lunch with the number one hero. I smiled. A smile covered my face. Well, I didn't have any other plans today anyway. You've been begging me for some time now. Angie answered as he asked what I wanted to order. I think I'll have a fruit sandwich and some juice, and don't worry, I'll pay. Very well then. I'll take a coffee and a meat bun, Angie replied as Hawks went to order. Angie point of view. I looked at Hawks' back as he went to order, to think he'd be this excited over a simple lunch. I couldn't help but let out a chuckle. I don't know if he's noticed it himself, but every time he gets excited or has something to say, his wings start to vibrate. When we first met, I couldn't stand him because of how noisy he was. And not to mention clingy. He would follow me everywhere and has apparently never heard of personal space. But it seems now that he's gotten better at self-control and is now a decent person to be with. As he came back to the table, he sat down, gave me my order. As he came back to the table, he gave me my order and sat down. We began small chatting, and unfortunately convinced me to come drinking with him and some other pro heroes this evening. We then said goodbye and parted ways. Hawks. I can't believe I got him to come drinking tonight. This means I get to spend more time with him. Excited, I texted the others, Mirko Bestinist, Edge shot that Angie was coming as well. Okay, to be continued. Wait. I'm just gonna... Oh, okay. I suppose I could read another chapter. Okay. Third person point of view. It was now 6 p.m. and everyone had arrived at a bar downtown. I must say it was quite the shock hearing you were going to join us today, Endeavor. Best Gina slightly chuckled while fixing his hair. I know, right? I was surprised as well. Good to have you here, Marco said while clapping him on the back. Ed Shot nodded in agreement. Hawk's point of view. Well then, let us make a toast. I smiled and raised my glass. The others did the same. May luck be with us all, I shouted as our cups touched. We continued drinking and having fun all evening. I haven't had so much fun in ages. I think I drank a little too much. My head was spinning as I looked over at Angie. He was good at holding his drinks and wasn't affected at all. The others began worrying about me and decided we'd stop here for the night. As I stood, suddenly my feet gave in and I collapsed. When I woke up, I was leaning on Angie, who was holding me up straight. I mumbled. I see you're awake. You collapsed, and the others told me to take you home, so you better tell me your address. He said, well, I still didn't know what was going on. It was dark and quiet. All I was able to see and hear were the streetlights and Angie's soft breathing. Yes, my address, I giggled, still wasted. We can sit down until you're sober enough to speak properly, he told me. As we found a bench, he put me down and seated himself beside me. Here, I bought some water earlier. Open your mouth. Slowly I opened my mouth and the cold water brushed my tongue. I swallowed as he gave me more. Thanks, I grinned like an idiot. Endeavor point of view. As I continued giving him the water, some of it dropped down his lip onto his neck. I swallowed to think that he could be such a mess when drunk. He gave me a tingly feeling whenever our eyes met. It was kind of awkward, but he looked so defenseless. It made me want to embrace him and hold him. No, snap out of it, Angie. It's the alcohol that's talking. You are not in your right mind right now. Suddenly he grabbed my face. I looked him right in his eyes. His pupils were so big and beautiful. A blush appeared on Hawks' face as he pushed his lips against mine. Oomph, I let out. I tried pushing him away, but my arms wouldn't let me. I had no other choice but to give in. His lips were so soft, and his breath was warm. Small moans escaped us. I pushed my tongue in and began getting a little too excited. Suddenly he jumped into my lap, still kissing me. Slowly he began grinding against me. I moaned as we rubbed against each other. I didn't know what was going on in my mind right now. There's no way I would do this sober, or would I? No, he's annoying and I don't like him at all. As I said that, I felt my dick twitch. My body reacted against my will. Angie, I want to do it, Hawk said, kissing my neck. No, we can't, I replied as he began stroking my erection. This thing of yours says otherwise. He smirked as he kissed me again. To be honest, I was so turned on right now that I just wanted to devour him right here and now. But even as a little tipsy, I still had self-control. I let out a sigh as I whispered in his ear. Let's go to a motel then. As I said that, his wings began vibrating again. I could tell he was excited. When we arrived at the motel, we went to order a room at the front, the lady looked at us, clearly hiding the smirk. Well, who wouldn't look at us when they see the number 1 and number 2 hero wanting a room at a motel? Remember, room 389. Have a nice day, the lady smiled at us as she gave me the key. We took the elevator up to the 5th floor, and I unlocked the door. Just as we got inside and locked the door, Hawks was all over me again, but this time I didn't hesitate. To be continued. Anyway, okay. That's all I'm gonna read for now. Anyway, bye guys!